I photographed the 75th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge, and looking back now, I have some questions. Hi, how are you? So today is May 27th, a historic day because it is the anniversary of the opening of the Golden Gate Bridge in 1937. I lived in San Francisco from 1996 to 2008, and I loved every single day in that beautiful magic city. And in 2012, I had a wonderful excuse to go back down to the city to photograph the 75th anniversary of the bridge. And of course I brought my camera because I knew that there was going to be a big fireworks show. And I'd photographed other fireworks shows in Portland, but this was going to be the biggest fireworks show that I'd ever photographed. So I was really excited to go down there and photograph it. So it turns out that the 75th anniversary of the Golden Gate Bridge is actually a pretty big deal. And there was all kinds of stuff going on. So on the day of May 27th, there was a big social gathering on the Marina Green by the bay. I think bands played, and there were posters all over the place advertising the celebration. And there was another social gathering in Crissy Field near the Golden Gate Bridge with food and hundreds of plastic outhouses. There was a big stage set up for a music concert that was going to happen later that night. And more people showed up as the sun got closer to the horizon. And you could see all these ships sailing out into the bay and then stopping near the bridge. And these were the ships that were going to launch many of the fireworks. So everything was getting into position. The bridge was closed off from traffic, and the sun went down, and it was showtime. It started with bright sparks spreading horizontally across the bridge, and then those sparks grew and they rained down from the bridge, and that's 250 feet that those sparks are falling. It was a massive spectacle. And then lots of lights started turning on, and triumphant music was playing, and fireworks started flying, and it was just this amazing sight to see. And for the next hour, it was total eye candy over the San Francisco Bay. There were fireworks on the bridge and above the bridge and all the areas around the bridge and the bay. And they had fireworks literally shooting off of the bridge itself. I did not expect that. The amount of work it would have taken to attach all of those fireworks across the span of the bridge and up the towers, that must have taken weeks to prepare. And all of that work was being launched in one big kaleidoscopic moment, flawlessly. So whoever arranged this event and worked on it deserves lots of applause because it was just amazing. So people are video recording the fireworks with their phones, and I'm photographing the fireworks, and we're all recording this spectacle at the same time we're enjoying this spectacle. And looking back on it now, it kind of gets me thinking that were we truly enjoying the spectacle if we're also documenting the spectacle? And I think that, ever since cameras were first introduced, and especially now that they're attached to our phones, we have video cameras and still cameras with us on our phones 24/7, it's kind of turned us into documentary filmmakers half the time. Do we really enjoy a moment organically and free of technology, or are we filming half of it? Or do we feel obligated to film a moment when it happens rather than just enjoying a moment when it happens? I think I could have just, not filmed the fireworks. I could have just stood there and really enjoyed it personally and had an experience. But half the time I was photographing the fireworks, and my concentration was on the camera most of the time rather than the fireworks. It's like, am I getting a good shot? And I don't know if that lowers the impact of the event. There's this video, I'm sure you've seen it, of the Ariana Grande concert. And she starts to sing a song and someone shouts out, "Wait, start over, I wasn't recording." And Ariana's so kind, she starts the song over again so the person can get the full song from the beginning when they record. And I thought, is this what we've turned into? Can you go to a concert and not film it? I was so glad that I grew up in a time where if we went to a concert, we could not bring a camera or a tape recorder to record the event. And if we did, if security saw us with a camera or a recorder, they'd take it away from us. And I guess it got to the point where security was like, everybody has a phone, everybody's filming. They just threw up their hands and said, we can't take take away everyone's phone, because if we did, everyone would leave and there would be no audience. And I'm just curious today, and I'd love to know your comments in the comments, because when you go to a concert, do you film it? Do you film half of it? And if you are filming half of the concert, are you enjoying the concert? And would you enjoy the concert more if your phone was in your back pocket rather than right there filming the concert? Because, I don't know, you can't really enjoy something organically if you're filming half of it. And, maybe that's why I don't film as much anymore. I used to go out at night and take pictures of the city. And I don't do that much anymore. Or I'd, go to an event like a marathon or a fireworks show and I'd photograph it because I wanted to get good pictures. But I don't do that much anymore because I enjoy just experiencing the event itself. And so I'd just love to know what your take on that is. Do you feel an obligation to film something when a moment happens? Quick, get out your phone because you got to show everybody. You got to have that captured moment. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Anyway, so the fireworks show is going on. And then there's this big finale. And the fireworks show ended and people cheered. And then they left the beach areas. And I stayed for a little while. And I'm glad I did because I was able to get this really cool shot of one final firework going off over the bridge. And then after the fireworks, there was this big outdoor concert in Crissy Field. And I don't know any of the bands that were playing, but it was a really cool scene. And I got some fun pictures. And it was a really cool concert, but it was around 11 p.m. and I was tired, so I left the concert early. And I walked back to the marina. And I saw this marvelous view of the Palace of Fine Arts. And I just had to set up my tripod and take some pictures because the amazing thing about these pictures is that the light that is appearing above the Palace of Fine Arts is never there. That glowing light is from the concert and the events that were going on in Crissy Field and the spotlights and all the other lights that they have set up along the way walking to and from the bridge for the fireworks show. So I knew I had to get these pictures of the Palace of Fine Arts because it would be very rare for those lights to ever be shining over it again. And that would make these pictures unique. And I also saw that there was this fantastic crescent moon in the sky right above the structure. And so that made the scene just even more awesome. And it was just a moment. And I did more than just experience it. I photographed it. And I'm glad I did because I get to share it with you. And it was awesome. What was not awesome is that because there were so many people who went to the fireworks show, by the time I got to the marina, they had taken all the taxis. And I couldn't find a cab anywhere. Usually in the marina, I have no problem getting a taxi. But on that particular night, there was no taxis anywhere. And so I had to walk, and I should have gotten a motel in the marina, which was close to the Golden Gate Bridge. But instead, for some reason, I decided to stay at the Western St. Francis in Union Square. And that's the famous hotel that has the glass elevators that go up and have a fantastic view of the Union Square. And so from the marina to get to my hotel, I had to walk 4.5 miles because I couldn't get a cab. And I've got my tripod and all my camera gear, and I will never do that again. I always get a motel now in the marina whenever I stay in San Francisco because that's usually the neighborhood I hang out. And I never want to have to walk that far again. Anyway, I had a lot of fun photographing the fireworks and everything. And I actually took a lot more pictures on that trip. I walked across the Golden Gate Bridge. And so I will have lots more pictures to show you in future videos of that same trip. But thank you for listening to this video. And I really would like to know your comments on my thoughts about, do we photograph things too much? Should we just, put our phones in our back pockets and just experience a moment organically? Or do we constantly feel the obligation to photograph it? And should we photograph it? And I don't know. I'd just like to know your thoughts about that. I'm curious. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and I will have more pictures to show you another time. I hope you have a great day. I'm still not comfortable doing this, but I try my best, and it's great to talk to you. Anyway, have a great day.